Happy new month. A very good evening to you. Trust you well, and the day has been well with you. It is the 5th day of June, the year 2025. So glad that you tuned in here on KUTV Weekend Live. And before we get into the news making headlines today, this is the intro.
This is Weekend Live with Ochieng, Cynthia.
And Naomi Ombui is my co-pilot tonight. Remember that this broadcast is live across all our social media platforms. On YouTube, it's KUTV News Kenya. On X, it's KUTV_Kenya. My name is Ochieng, Cynthia, and let's get started. Now, with the continued threats of escalating youth protests, leaders in Narok are urging young people to abandon violent demonstrations and engage in peaceful dialogue. And as Edna Nerea now reports, human rights activists, local leaders, and parents have emphasized on the need for job creation, collaboration between the government and youth to find a lasting solution.
In Narok County, community leaders urge you to embrace peaceful dialogue and job opportunities to address their concern, promoting unity for national stability. Human rights activist Daniel Kamau echoed these calls, stressing government willingness to listen but warning against protests causing loss of life and destruction.
Lazima muwasilishe barua zenu kwa national government, ili naye national government waende wakae chini nanyi ili musikilizwe ajenda yenu ni gani, lakini si kuchukua hatua mkononi, munaanza fujo, munaumiza gari ya mwingine ambao ukigojeka usiku unahitaji ile gari iweze kukupeleka ndani ya hospitali.
Narok Peace Ambassador Joshua Olekaputa has urged you to maintain peace during protests and explore peaceful ways of raising concerns. He called for dialogue between leadership and youth at the county level and cautioned opposition leaders against exploiting the situation for political gain.
Cha muhimu ni kwamba tusisahau Kenya ni nchi yetu. tusisahau sisi ni wana Kenya na Kenya ni sisi. Na unafaa ujue ya kwamba Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe. So cha muhimu ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumesaidia nchi yetu isonge mbele. Ningependa kuambia majensi, millennials ambaye mimi ni mmoja wao na wengine.
On the other hand, parents led by Madam Lucy have urged the government to create job opportunities for youth, citing unemployment as a major driver for street protests. She also emphasized the need for parents to build strong, trusting relationships with their children to address underlying issues.
Wazazi wajaribu kuongea na vijana wao, wasiwe wanatoa fujo, wawe wanaelewana kwa amani. Kama ni kazi ya mtaani irudi nyuma, lakini tungeomba serikali yetu iweze kuwapea kazi mtaani ili waweze kujimudu kimaisha na ili waweze kuendelea, juu wengi wana familia, wengine hawana mahali pa kukaa. Pengine ikiwa hivyo wataweza kujipanga na waweze kuendelea wakiwa na amani. Asante.
Pastor Mark Mutolol has echoed concerns over peaceful youth protests, highlighting how criminal elements infiltrate demonstrations to loot and destroy property, leading to death and injuries. Boda riders as well joined in urging for peaceful protest and a focus on constructive dialogue to address youth grievances.
Hivyo ni mzuri mjisuie, muwe watu ambaye wanatazama vizuri na kujua vizuri ya kwamba mtu mbaya anaweza kuja kuharibu jina lako. Ningeomba pia rais wetu akumbuke Gen Z na arudishe kazi mtaani, kwa sababu mtu akikosa kazi fikira zake zitafikiria vibaya.
As the call for peace grow louder, all leaders emphasize the need for dialogue, unity and collective efforts towards solutions. Edna Nerea, KUTV.
For over half a century, these hallowed grounds have nurtured minds, ignited passions, and shaped leaders. Here, where inquiry knows no bounds, another chapter closes. At Kenyatta University, we celebrate more than just degrees. We celebrate futures unfolding, grounded in ethics-guided research and technology. Our graduates step forward equipped with knowledge, driven by purpose, and ready to make their mark on the world. From pioneering technologies to leading ethics-guided research, our alumni are shaping our tomorrow. KU's legacy isn't just in the past. It is in the enduring pursuit of knowledge, the unwavering commitment to service, the courage to ask the difficult questions. The KU class of 2025, prepared to lead, empowered by education for ethics-guided research and technology, the world awaits their brilliance. Kenyatta University will hold the 57th graduation ceremony on the 18th July 2025 from 8 a.m. at KU Main Campus Graduation Square. The ceremony will also be streamed live on KU TV, KU Radio, YouTube, KU website, all KU social media platforms. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 020-870-3092 or 0786-335-111 or visit the KU website on www.ku.ac.ke. Hashtag KU 57th Graduation. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives. Kenyatta, our nation's pride, University of our time.
Miti miti, panda panda, panda panda, miti planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome. You are watching Weekend Live with Ochieng Cynthia.
Apologies for that. Now, during an economic empowerment forum held in the Likoni constituency, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki today led the government leaders in commending President William Ruto for his leadership, while harshly criticizing the opposition's statement of one term with claims of insightful and meaningless.
Ni two-term, si two-term. Ni two-term, si two-term. Ni two-term, si two-term.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, accompanied by President Ruto's allies, strongly condemned opposition leaders for what he termed as division and tribalism through the statement one term. He said that instead of providing solutions to the challenges faced by unemployed youth, these leaders are spreading divisive politics.
Na wale watu nasikia wanaimba one term huko, wale washindwe kwa sababu agenda yao na manifesto wakiulizwa watafanyia wananchi nini wakipata, wanasema one term. Wakiulizwa agenda yao ni nini, wanasema Ruto must go.
Kindiki praised the president's leadership and the political truce with Raila, calling it a pillar for national unity and economic transformation. The DP emphasized that the government is working across the country, using the phrase tuko kazi bila breki.
Rais Ruto amesema wakiwa na Prime Minister Raila Odinga hakuna ubaguzi tena kwa misingi ya kijinsia, na hiyo ndio tunaita two term. Hiyo ndio tunaita.
Kindiki also highlighted the construction of modern markets in every constituency, expansion of electricity to 15 million more households, and the ongoing investment in the blue economy. He hailed the rollout of the Social Health Authority (SHA), saying it ensures that no Kenyan will have to sell property to cover hospital bills.
Mambo ya uvuvi, mambo ya masoko, mambo ya kina mama na kazi kwa vijana. Hiyo ndio tunasema 10 bila. 10 bila.
Kindiki also praised mining CS Ali Hassan Joho, noting that the president has instructed him to secure deep-sea fishing levels to boost the region's income. Patricia Alex for KUTV.
And moving on, President William Ruto's move to construct a church in State House has continued to spark debate, with a section of opposition leaders now opposing the move amidst the controversy. Frederick Mwangi reports on a day where chilling claims have also emerged concerning illegal abductions of some politically active youths.
Tempers flood in Inono village, Madira constituency, where political leaders gathered to bid farewell to the late Gladys Gathoni and to the DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, and ended up issuing some of the most iconic condemnations of President Ruto's administration. Leading the charges was Kalonzo Musyoka, who celebrated Gachagua's family values but questioned the president's judgment.
A constitutional, impeachable offense, then continue with this thinking, because Kenyans are able to see through this. Kwa mfano, kama unatumia pesa zako 1.2 billion, Wakenya wanajua mshahara wako ni 1.4 million or thereabouts. How many years would it take ukitumia mshahara wako, assuming you are using all of it, kujenga kanisa kwa Ikulu?
At the center of the controversy is the claim that President Ruto is building a church inside State House using his personal funds, something that leaders say breaches Article 8 of the Constitution, which establishes the separation of the church and the state.
So mimi nasema tusichanganye mambo ya serikali na mambo ya binafsi. Mali yako tumia vile unataka. Mali ya umma usitumie kama ni yako.
The opposition also pointed figures at the recent dramatic arrest of the DCP youth leaders, Kutv and Peter Kawanjiru. The two were arrested on unclear charges, released, and then forcibly rearrested by officers who were believed to be from the DCI. Eyewitnesses alleged that they were taken without warrants and held in undisclosed locations.
We are shocked that ya kwamba huyu majority leader wetu, the MP for Kikuyu, working with William Ruto, have embarked on a scheme to have our young children taken to all manner of courts with all manner of charges.
Gachagua then delivered a piercing reminder of the 2007 Kiambaa Church massacre, challenging Ruto's spiritual motives. Pastor Dorcas Rigathi also added that spiritual healing should come first and not the physical structures.
Sasa, kama anapenda kujenga kanisa sana, si ile kanisa ilichomwa pale Kiambaa pamoja na watoto wajenge hiyo kwanza kabla kujenga hii State House. We don't have a problem if you like building churches. But since 2007, why don't you get a part of that 1.2 billion and go and rebuild the Kiambaa church that was touched with our children inside?
You are a Christian. God called you and you want to build a church. Let's build the spiritual one first. Because the blood that is in our hands, that is not right, Mr. President. Go back, think about it. As a Christian, we must follow the 10 Commandments.
As emotions run high and accusations fly, the unfolding drama reveals a nation deeply divided, not just by politics, but the questions of morality, legality, and leadership.
And to health matters, Kenya continues to grapple with major gaps in health research, from underfunding to brain drain to limited local data. But at Kenyatta University, young scientists are stepping up. At the 3rd annual Kenyatta University Medical Research Club Scientific Conference, students and professionals gathered to reimagine a research ecosystem built on local solutions, driven by innovation and early involvement. Our reporter Yvonne Kimuma has more.
Thank you very much to our panelists. Maybe we can give them a round of applause. Yes.
The 3rd annual COMREC Scientific Conference brought together young researchers, medical practitioners and educators, all united by a shared concern, advancing knowledge, shaping the future in a new era of scientific discovery. In regards to challenges faced in the country and across the continent in regards to research, participants raised concerns over reliance on important data, a lack of funding, and minimal investment in early-stage scientific mentorship.
Yeah, so the gaps really are in what we would call resources, which could be the funding mechanisms, and then also, as a result, the gaps are in the infrastructure. Because particularly for things like clinical trials, it takes quite a bit of infrastructure to be able to do that.
Universities in Africa, a few universities, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, are focused more on research. They focus on churning out students using recycled material. So there is little research that is being done, and even investment in research is being done. So looking ahead, I think much needs to be done, and research needs to start early.
But efforts are underway to change the narrative. The Kenyatta University Medical Research Club, the organizer of the event, is actively working to integrate research culture into student life by fostering interest in local health issues and encouraging interdisciplinary collaboration. KUMREC is helping students design solutions grounded in the community they come from.
The contribution, participation of students is critical, actually, if I put it. When you think about research on the ground, what you call a principal investigator might think the problem, but the person who will be on the ground, if it's data collection, working in the lab, you need a team, and that team cannot function without students from undergraduate till postgraduate. So we cannot ignore the fact that students, in this case, their involvement is critical. Now, when it comes to research, I know we have changed the CBE curriculum, and that has incorporated aspects of research from an earlier age or earlier ages of learning. So I believe they will see a difference in that. Now, when it comes to you, like you guys in university, then now this, of course, interinstitutional cooperation with the government, so that government bodies, so that we see the problems that we have and how now us in the learning institutions can help the government solve the problem.
Students are future professionals, essentially. And so it becomes important to just ensure that, number one, we are equipping students with the skills they need for research. And that's the essence of KUMREC, essentially, because we want to ensure that as early as first year, people are able to be integrated into various research programs that will give them the skills that they need. Currently, what we have is research for MPCHB. Research training is usually done in 5th year. But now you see we just have 1 year left in school, and it's a busy year, so it may not really be possible to engage in research.
The conference also emphasized the role of digital tools and technology, not just in data collection, but in expanding access to research findings, particularly for young scientists who face high publishing costs and limited visibility. Looking ahead, attendees called for stronger collaboration across fields, increased investment in affordable research infrastructure, and reforms in university curriculums to prioritize research at the undergraduate level. Yvonne Kemuma, KUTV.
Now, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku has launched the 59th Huduma Center in Mogotio, Baringo County, marking a milestone in decentralized service delivery. As Kenya's first full solar-powered center, it aims to enhance access to government service and drive inclusive development in rural areas.
In Mogotio, CS Ruku launched the first fully solar-powered Huduma Center, bringing essential government services closer to residents and reducing the need for long travel. The center includes a digital hub to empower youth with skills and job opportunities. He also emphasized the government's education efforts, noting 76,000 teachers employed and plans to hire 24,000 more before the year ends.
Ndio maana manifesto ya UDA inasema within 5 years tutaajiri walimu 100,000 teachers, lakini within 3 years serikali ya Mheshimiwa Rais itakuwa imeajiri 100,000 teachers kwa kufikia Januari. Hiyo ni kazi ya rais ama ni kazi ya mtu mwingine? Hiyo ni kazi ya rais ama ni hao ambao vichwa yao imeruka watu wa chuki
CS Ruku highlighted the new Huduma Center in Mogotio as a key step in expanding government services to local communities. The facility will reduce the need for residents to travel far for services and includes a digital hub to support youth with skills and job access.
Kutoka leo tuko na huduma services ambazo mtakuwa mnapata kwa ukaribu hapa Mogotio. Wale ambao walikuwa wanatembea wanaenda huko Nakuru, wanaenda Endamaravini, hiyo safari kuanzia leo imefika kikomo, na sasa kupitia kasi ya serikali ya Mheshimiwa Rais ni kwamba mtakuwa mnapata huduma ya serikali.
Huduma Kenya CEO Ben Kai Chilumo celebrated the launch of Mogotio Huduma Center, highlighting its role in decentralizing services to reduce costs and improve access. He noted Huduma Center serves over 60,000 citizens daily, offering 157 physical and 22,000 online services, with expansion ongoing to several sub-county outlets.
Leo imeweza kuleta huduma 52 na vile vile huduma 22,000 za dijitali ambazo zingine zitapeanwa pale kwa uso, lakini zingine mtakuja pale zile ambazo ziko digitalized, utasaidiwa pale katika digital hub yetu ambayo iko pale isaidie.
On the other hand, MPKU North Korir Adams highlighted the Huduma Center's significant transformation in Mogotio community. He urged youths and adults to actively use the center services, emphasizing that doing so will bring tangible benefits and positively impact their lives and communities.
Lakini nimeona ile transformation ambaye Huduma Center inaleta kwa wananchi. Kwa hivyo nataka kuomba vijana wenzangu, wazee, kina mama, tafadhali msifurahie jengo tu, utilize services ya serikali so that ngeite dayo kama ni kipande kila mtu akuwa naye. Kama ni maneno ya NSSF register, maneno ya SHA register, so that government inapata kitu inaitwa value for money.
The launch of Mogotio Huduma Center strengthens local services access, driving progress and empowerment for residents and youth alike. Edna Nerea, KUTV.
Badala ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili
bila woga. Watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi, hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka, akawa tuzo. Ukakamavu wake, ukatii, na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari, kwa jinsi alivyo ngari-ngari. Mimi ni mwanamke wake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimwele.
So my name is Kutv. I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland. And I'm the main coordinator of the CAFE project, which is being here hosted by KUTV University.
My name is Eva Hutoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at KUTV University Television.
For over half a century, these hallowed grounds have nurtured minds, ignited passions, and shaped leaders. Here, where inquiry knows no bounds, another chapter closes. At Kenyatta University, we celebrate more than just degrees. We celebrate futures unfolding, grounded in ethics-guided research and technology. Our graduates step forward equipped with knowledge, driven by purpose, and ready to make their mark on the world. From pioneering technologies to leading ethics-guided research, our alumni are shaping our tomorrow. KU's legacy isn't just in the past. It is in the enduring pursuit of knowledge, the unwavering commitment to service, the courage to ask the difficult questions. The KU class of 2025, prepared to lead, empowered by education for ethics-guided research and technology, the world awaits their brilliance. Kenyatta University will hold the 57th graduation ceremony on the 18th July 2025 from 8 a.m. at KU Main Campus Graduation Square. The ceremony will also be streamed live on KUTV, KU Radio, YouTube, KU website, all KU social media platforms. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 020-870-3092 or 0786-335-111 or visit the KU website on www.ku.ac.ke. Hashtag KU 57th Graduation. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives. Kenyatta, our nation's pride, University of our time.
You are watching Weekend Live. You are watching Weekend Live with Ochieng, Cynthia.
Welcome back. Now, Kenya's political arena has started experiencing political tremors as the 2027 elections draws closer. One of the major political tremors is the rise of the Gen Z movement, a challenge that President William Ruto seems to be facing. In this edition of Political Cards by our very own Blue Smile Hassan, we examine and analyze the political strategies and calculations that President Ruto is using in his attempt to co-opt or contain this movement, the effectiveness and whether they are bearing fruits.
also activities of the now famous Gen Z movement have continued being a headache to President Ruto's two-term politics. But despite this, President Ruto has been consistent in employing strategies in his attempt to quiet or win over the movement.
Currently, is a man under siege because he's facing a lot of challenges, and these protests are trying now to bring issues with his legitimacy.
This is the current situation President Ruto finds himself in, grappling with the Gen Z movement, a major litmus test of his leadership. President Ruto, who has been praised by many for his vast political experience of nearly 35 years, is now facing a political wave, perhaps unlike any he has encountered before. Ruto's political skills have been for a long time observed as seemingly top-notch, perhaps the king in the chessboard. Most notably is how he managed to woo his long-time rival Raila Odinga to become an ally and defender. However, with the Gen Z, Ruto appears to be struggling. Analysts speculate that this might be because the Gen Z movement lacks a clearly defined leadership.
You see, many a times in politics, we should identify the leaders, we negotiate with the leaders, because they represent the majority. But in this case, the Gen Z said they are leaderless. So the moment you pinpoint some specific people, they will be labeled as traitors and not part of the leaders, that we are leaderless. But then again, President Ruto made, I think it was a mistake, because he wants to negotiate under his own terms, not under the Gen Z's terms. And that is why the reason he initially said that the Gen Zs should appoint leaders and send those leaders to State House, but they refused. But now when he found out that it is very difficult to engage the Gen Zs in that area, he decided to come to X under his own terms.
Nevertheless, the absence of leadership has not stopped Ruto from trying to either sway the movement to his side or suppress its momentum.
The strategies that he's using is the narrative. He controls the narrative. George Orwell's in The Animal Farm talks about he who controls the narrative controls the future, and he who controls the present controls the narrative. President Ruto currently, he controls the narrative. You see now, it has turned out to be the question of why, not how, the why of the protest. You see, the Gen Zs were protesting for some issues, but now President Ruto has now turned the narrative to how the Gen Zs are protesting. That is why they've been labeled as looters, criminals, and now the question is, why, how are they conducting these protests? Not why are they protesting?
Now let's rewind a bit to when this movement started. After the protest of June 25th, 2024, under the pressure from the Gen Z, Ruto declined to sign the 2024 finance bill. He dissolved his cabinet and promised to meet many of the demands voiced by the Gen Z, possibly a tactic to win their favor.
President Ruto is playing the playbook of Niccolo Machiavelli, the politics of Niccolo Machiavelli. Appear weak when you are strong, and appear that you are listening to people while in real sense you are not listening to them. So what President Ruto did, the Gen Zs wanted the reshuffling of that, the cabinet to go. Now, in order to cool them down, he bought into that. Okay, I've heard you. Now he was giving these guys and the Gen Z the impression that he's a listening president. While when he came back again and brought similar faces, we later understood that he was not a listening president.
The pressure on President Ruto to do what the Gen Z wants seems to have become a thorny issue for him.
If Ruto listens to the Gen Zs, there will be repercussions. Because some of, like one of the demands of the Gen Zs was this opulence that is in the cabinet. Those guys should be sacked. They are incompetent. But you see, the moment you sack somebody, it brings an opposition, and you lose that support for those people. So he cannot listen to them because he wants to retain that political value that those people are bringing. That is the reason why he cannot listen to the Gen Zs. But then again, some of the things that the Gen Zs are saying, to him, he feels that they cannot be achieved right now.
However, Ruto's strategies to win over the Gen Z appears not to have been in vain. As soon as he aligned himself with Raila Odinga, youths from regions perceived to be Raila's stronghold seemed to calm down. Ruto also appears to be borrowing a political playbook once used by the late President Moi to win over young people in the 1992 elections.
President Moi made sure that he brought the young people, the youths for KANU, youths for Moi, and President Ruto was a student. You see, President Ruto came to this politics when he was picked from UON so that he can be part of that team, youths for KANU. So he wants to use that strategy. And you've seen lately, there are some youths who have come up with maybe a movement that they're saying that youths for Ruto. So he is trying to employ that same tactics, and he knows that in order to buy some people, you don't have to buy all people. Just buy one person who is being followed by a magnitude of people. And that is the way you are going to get the support of those other people.
In Ruto's twin strategy of seeking influence among the Gen Z while also trying to silence them, a proposed bill to regulate protests seemed to be one of the government key cards to achieve this.
You see, if you want to take away the right to liberty of the people, you first take away their freedom of expression. You see, rights are indivisible. You take away one, you take away all. You see, if you take away the right to, the freedom of expression, that means people cannot, they cannot engage in demonstration. You take away almost all the rights. You get. So rights are indivisible.
Whether Ruto's political cards on the Gen Z will eventually work remains to be seen. But as they say, in politics, nothing is impossible. Blue Ismail Hassan, the political chessboard.
Thank you, Blue Smile, for that. Now on sports, 3-time Olympic champion Faith Kipyegon and 800-meter world women champion Mary Moraa will headline Team Kenya in the Eugene Diamond League. The 2025 Eugene Diamond League meeting boasts of one of the best fields this year, with 17 individuals champions from the Paris Olympics and 14 world record holders in action, ready to battle for the crown. St. Lucia's Olympic champion Julian Alfred will take on American duo Shakari Richardson and Melissa Jefferson Wooden in the 100-meter, while world and Olympic champion Faith Kipyegon will rage against Britain's Georgia Huntabel, Australian, and Jessica Hull in the women's 1,500 meter. Now, Enzo side booked a slot in the semi-finals FIFA Club World Cup after edging out Brazilian outfit Premier 2-1 out of the quarter-finals in Lincoln Financial Field in the United States of America. In other fixtures lined for today, Real Madrid will battle it out for a ticket in the semi-finals of FIFA Club World Cup against Borussia Dortmund on Saturday at MetLife Stadium in the United States of America. Now, thank you so much for staying with me here at KUTV Weekend Live. Indeed, it has been an insightful moment, the 30 minutes or so actually. Now, Naomi Ombui has been our sign language interpreter. And before we call it a good night, I have something. I think it's possible for ordinary people to actually sometimes be extraordinary. Now, my name is Ochieng, Cynthia. Till next time, do have a good night.